This is WAEC June 2020 General Mathematics Paper 2, and we're answering question number 3b. And the question says, given that the tangent of the angle x is equals to square root of 3, and that angle x lies between 0 degrees and 90 degrees, the question asked is to find or evaluate what is cos square x minus sine x all over sine square x plus cos x. It is this that we asked to find. It is a value. So let's attempt to answer this very question together. Solution to the problem. Given that the tangent of x is root 3, that is tan x can be root 3 all over 1. That implies that we can have a right angle triangle with the angle x here placed, and that tangent ratio means opposite divided by the adjacent. So opposite would now be given the length root 3, and the adjacent would now be given the length 1 unit. Then we can now find the third side. That will enable us to find what will be cos x and what will be sine x. So using the Pythagoras theorem to find y would now be the hypotenuse of that right angle triangle. So y is now going to be square root of this side, which is root 3 square, plus the square of this side, which is 1 square. Root of 3 square gives you 3, and 1 square gives you 1, so you now have square root of 3 plus 1. 3 plus 1 gives you 4, and the square root of 4 gives you answer 2. So the hypotenuse of this right angle triangle is now going to be 2 units, which means we can now find what is cos x and what is sine x. So cos x is now going to be the adjacent, which is 1 divided by the hypotenuse, which is 2. So you have 1 over 2 as your cos x. Then your sine x is now opposite, which is root 3, divided by the hypotenuse, which is 2. So sine x is now going to be square root of 3 over 2. So we can now go back to this very one that we asked to find its value. That is cos square x minus sine x all over sine square x plus cos x can now be substituted. Now I have cos x as 1 over 2. So cos square x will now be 1 over 2 whole squared minus sine x, which is root 3 over 2 all over sine square x, and sine x is now root 3 over 2. So you have root 3 over 2 whole squared, then plus cos x, which is plus 1 over 2. So it's this fraction that we are now to simplify and get the final value. So if I now change this fraction, instead this all over, let me just change it to division sign. Is you now have denominator 1 over 4. 1 over 4 is a result of 1 over 2 whole squared. That gives you 1 over 4. Copy that root 3 all over 2. That is minus root 3 all over 2. This will now be denominator divided by the denominator. That my denominator, I will now have that root 3 all over 2 whole squared will now becomes 3 over 4. That is root 3 square will give answer 3 outside, and the 2 square gives answer 4. Copy that 1 over 2. This will now be my denominator. So I'm dividing numerator by denominator. Simplification of my numerator here, that is 1 over 4 minus root 3 all over 2. Using LCM as 4, you now have 1 minus 2 root 3 all over 4. And addition of these fractions here at the denominator, 3 over 4 plus 1 over 2. Using LCM 4, if done correctly, you have 5 over 4. So you are now dividing the numerator by the denominator, and my denominator is 5 over 4. Division by this means multiplying by the reciprocal of 5 over 4, which will now be 4 over 5. So when you multiply this fraction, that is this very bracket, by 4 over 5, the 4 will now cancel 4, and you now have numerator 1 minus 2 root 3 all over 5. And this will now be the value of this cos square x minus sine x all over sine square x plus cos x. And that answered this very question. So let me just share with you quickly the mark distribution for this very question as it is done in the marking scheme. The very first mark is bonus 1 mark, and this bonus 1 mark is for getting what is cos x and sine x. If both are correct, you have this bonus 1 mark. Next mark is substituting what is cos x, what is sin x in this very cos square x minus sin x all over sin square x plus cos x. Substituting cos x and sin x correctly, you have this method on mark. And when you now simplify up to the end to get the final value as 1 minus 2 root 3 all over 5, if that is done correctly, you have this accuracy 1 mark. So in total, this question, if everything is correct, you have 3 good marks.